Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Uma Talks. And tonight we are doing Redefining Relationships in Modern Society, Part 2. Well, the funny thing is, I was supposed to do Part 2 with, I was supposed to do Part 2 of Uma Talks tonight, Redefining Relationships in Modern Society, with my co hosts, Rob and Mel. But everybody's sick, including myself. So we decided to postpone our talk. However, I will do a topic tonight for redefining relationships in modern society by myself. And then I will definitely bring Mel and Rob back because I know you guys love them and I love them. And I definitely want us to have them back on the show. So thank you to everybody who's been writing in and letting me know that you're enjoying these Uma Talk shows on Wednesday nights. For those of you that are new and you're listening in, whether you're listening live or you're just listening in on the recording, this is a show that happens on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on my YouTube show. So if you go to YouTube and you look for The Lotus and the Light, that's my channel. You can hit that subscribe there. It's free to subscribe. And then you can get an invitation to come to these shows that I do. I wanted to talk about love and relationships because I am the love healer. I'm a healer by trade. I own a metaphysical wellness center called Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center, located in Northern Virginia. And I also am a psychic medium. So I do a lot of readings on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram for people. And like, I want to say 97% of my 97% of my readings are about love, relationships, and everything in between. So this is definitely going to be a great talk. I know it's something that's very needed, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. I'm just getting set up on one more of my streaming apps, so forgive me if I'm moving a little bit slow. I'm a little bit sluggish, not Benadryl, Dayquil and all. So, talks show. Redefining. But if any of you are listening in and you have questions about love, not readings, but questions about love relationships in today's modern society, please feel free to throw your questions in the comments. There's no wrong question or bad question, okay? There's always good questions. And I feel like there's so many people going through the same thing that sometimes you may need to actually ask the question because somebody else might have the same kind of question as well. Okay, we are live everywhere. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight was this concept about soulmates. I get a lot of this about soulmate love, and I feel like we need to really expand upon this concept of soulmate love because there's so many people that are looking for this like love of a lifetime, and they don't even realize that they are following a programming and they haven't really put a lot of thought into what that programming is. So I wanted to take a time to delve deep into what this concept of soulmates is. So this was a term that came up like, I want to say a long time ago, like in the 60s or 70s. I actually had this all written down at one point in time. And it was a term that was developed about people who had these really strong, intense, attractions to other people. And they were like, oh, this is a soulmate love. And this is a love that knows no bounds, right? You guys have probably heard this, or I could tell you what people say when they feel like they meet a soulmate. They'll say, "Oh, this is somebody that I feel like I've known forever, even though we've just met and the relationship is moving really quickly, even though we've just met, you know? Yeah, that could be it. And then a lot of people would use soulmate love to explain why they have done certain things that they've done, right? Like leave marriages. We've seen some people leave marriages for soulmate love, or they have abandoned their families or left their children for soulmate love, right? So when I was doing readings back in the early 2000s, my channel on YouTube grew really quickly because I was doing something called twin flame readings. And I am not going to lie to you guys, I got caught up in it too, right? I thought I was in a twin flame relationship. Now, the funny thing is, I actually didn't know about twin flames, right? I was told, and that's where I should have known, like, that was my first mistake. I was told by someone else that I'm in a twin flame relationship. And this woman was so adamant that I was in a twin flame relationship that she brought me some article. She tore it out of a magazine and gave it to me. And I read it. And we literally, my boyfriend and I at the time, we literally had all the signs of a twin flame. And I was like, wow. But then it was a really toxic relationship. Does anybody ever realize that? Like these twin flame relationships are toxic? And I wasn't really having a good time with it because it just didn't make sense to me. If this is like the love of a lifetime, how come it's so painful? How come it causes me so much pain? Right? And why was I always sad? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So I went along with it in the 2000s. I did a lot of readings, and they're still up. They're still up on my YouTube channel. You know, twin flames in union, twin flames in separation, twin flames in separation, no contact, twin flames in separation and contact. I literally did all these readings for like a year. And my channel grew so fast, and I had so many comments coming in every day about these twin flame readings. But I did one reading that made me stop doing twin flame readings forever. And I'll tell you what that reading was. It was a girl had called me from, I think she was in Texas. I know she was on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast because I remember we had to arrange times when we could talk. And she asked me, is this person my twin flame? And I told her what I had done was I used to do a reading where in tarot, there's 78 cards in tarot. And there's one card, which is the lover's card, which is like the ultimate union. And I would make a deal with spirit guides. I would say, I'm going to do a reading for people. And if that card shows up, because it's a 1 in 78% chance, right? One in 78 chance of that card showing up. So then you really got to be like, this is a real love relationship, right? So I was like, if that card shows up in the relationship reading that I'm doing, it's a twin flame relationship by my definition. And then I had other cards that if they showed up in that reading, then I would consider it a soulmate relationship. And then I had other cards that showed up that I said, if these cards show up, this is a karmic relationship. And I'm going to describe what all of these are in a minute. By the way, big shout out to the people on TikTok that are holding down the hearts and sending gifts. Appreciate you guys. So this girl had this call from Texas, and she booked me for a twin flame reading, and I did the reading, and she said, is this person my twin flame? So while I'm doing the cards and I'm reading the cards, I was not getting anything about this person even being in a relationship. So I stopped the reading and I said, I'm pulling your cards. I didn't really start the reading yet. I was just pulling the cards and looking at the cards. And all I was getting was work, just work cards. So I said to her, I said, do you work with this person? Is this a relationship where you guys are in a relationship, but you also work together? And she's like, we do work together. And I got no love relationship cards. Hi, Millyanne. I got no love relationship cards. So I said, something told me, again, Uma being psychic, something told me to ask her, hey, are you guys like now talking to each other? Because I feel like you're not even in a relationship yet. And this is what the girl said to me, and this is what made me stop doing twin flame readings. She said to me, well, no, we're not in a relationship. I have a crush on him, but he has a girlfriend, but I'm convinced he's my twin flame. And I said, why are you convinced that he's your twin flame? And she said, because we have all the signs of a twin flame union. And that was what did it for me. That was what did it for me. I stopped doing twin flame readings. And when I tell you, I was popular, what my YouTube channel was banging. If I had stayed doing those readings, I would have easily become monetized on YouTube, easily. But I could not in good consciousness, right? Alex said that would annoy me. I could not in good conscience do this anymore. I said, I got to get out of here. This twin flame community is toxic. So, of course I had some words for her. She didn't like that, you know. But I was like, I'm not going to let you go around here and really sit here and think about this. I really told her, I said, you need to get therapy, because that's somebody in a relationship. And I'm like, does he even notice you? And she said, no, not really. I said, did he give you any inclination that he was into you? And she said, no, no, he's actually very happy in love with his girlfriend. But I know it's not going to last because that's my twin flame. And I said, no, no, it's not. It's not your twin flame. That person is in a relationship. You got to leave it alone. And she got really mad at me. And that's what made me stop doing twin flame readings. So let me answer this. For those of you that don't know what a twin flame union is, it's a real hot topic in the spiritual community, because back in the 20s, I want to even say the 1980s, the 1990s, there were some shady spiritual people that started selling this concept of you're not complete without a twin flame. And then you started to see a lot of people go crazy looking for their twin flames. And basically what happened was it was when you read what people say are a twin flame union, depending on who you're listening to, it could be a really toxic couple, because it talks about things like I've seen some articles where people wrote articles saying you're not in a twin flame union unless you both are married or committed to other people, which pretty much meant like they were indicating it was okay to cheat. It was okay to leave your spouse or leave your relationship because, that wasn't your true love. Your true love is this other person who's also married or in a relationship. And that's when I started realizing this is not for me. Because you see, the thing about being a healer and a spiritual mentor is that we don't follow words, we follow energy and we follow actions. And if the energy is not in alignment with the highest vibration possible, then it cannot be a high vibrational thing. Does that make sense, guys? So, if a twin flame relationship is the highest kind of love relationship there is, then how could it be that you have to get your partner from another relationship, right? Ooh, Alex has a story for us. Alex Black said, "This is absolutely wild. My husband's coworker said something similar to him. He almost cheated." Yeah. Did she say that he was her twin flame? Right? Hey, babe, I'm recording my podcast. That's my twin flame. No, I'm kidding. That's my boyfriend. So it's a very unhealthy, a very unhealthy concept, this twin flame love, because it also talks about the runner and the chaser. Wow. Alex Black said, "We're in separation right now because of it." The best advice I could give you with my years of dealing with this is let him go and let him explore. But don't be surprised when he comes back to you. Like if you give him no opposition, right? Because the twin flame energy thrives off of that drama and trauma, right? So let him go, let him experience it. And then he's going to realize this is not what I thought this was going to be, you know? And then he's going to come back. And then when he comes back, it is up to you whether or not you want to work on your marriage. Me, I'm the kind of person, if I'm married, I'm going to work on my marriage, right? Because, when you take those vows in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad, this would be your bad time, right, Alex? This would be your bad time. So let him go, open the door, help him pack, do what you got to do. Because one thing I do know is when he does come back, which he will, the rest of your relationship, if you guys do work it out, will be the best of your relationship because he would have broken a vow and he's going to feel very remorseful and he's going to take the relationship so much more in a better place. Exactly. Yeah. And this is why like a lot of people I say can't be married because to be married, I was married and I did try with my husband. And my ex-husband is a great guy, but we did try. We went to counseling and saw a pastor and did therapy and everything. But we really just were not, right for each other. So we divorced, raised our kids, successfully co-parenting, have a great relationship still as friends. And we did try, but I always recommend to married people to definitely try, you know? Thank you, Alex Black. So the thing with twin flames is that when I was in that situation where people were telling me, because remember, I didn't believe in it. People were telling me, oh, that's your twin flame. That's because I had an ex and we were deeply in love. And people could see that we were deeply in love. But it was also a very toxic relationship, right? We broke up, we made up and break up and all of this stuff. And I didn't buy into this twin flame concept deep down because it just didn't make sense to me. Like, if this is from God, why would God put two people in a marriage vow and then say in the middle of that marriage vow, well, you belong to somebody else? That doesn't make sense. And then why is it that they have excuses for bad behavior or codependency? Like in the twin flame community, they talk about runners and chasers, right? They talk about, one twin flame wants out of the relationship. So they're running. So then you have to chase that person and don't let up because that's your twin flame. That's your ultimate relationship. And then they get back together and then the other person is going to be sick and tired of whatever and then they're going to leave and then the other person is supposed to chase them. Really and truly, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it just sounds like code for codependency and unhealthy behaviors. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know anything about these terminologies besides just the actual meaning of what codependency means. I need you, you need me. We need each other, right? Which is again toxic. So I was not a fan. And after my boyfriend and I broke up, I actually left my boyfriend and I said to myself, I rather be in a relationship with a soulmate if it's going to be much more stable, peaceful, and kind. So, yeah, if that guy is my twin flame, I happily leave him behind so I could be in a relationship with a soulmate. Because really and truly, all I want is peace in my life. I don't want no drama. I don't want no toxic relationship. I want just natural love, clean love, simple love, right? And what was funny was I was with my ex for about 3 years, and then we broke up. And then in like 4 months, I met a man that was a really nice man, sweet man, kind man. We got into a relationship. We had a really good relationship for 5.5 years. Again, people started saying, "This is your twin flame. This is your true twin flame. Oh my gosh, this has to be your twin flame," because I own a metaphysical wellness center and he was a healer and a psychic. And he was a teacher as well, like I am. So people were like, wow, you guys are both teaching. Because that's one of the things they talk about with twin flames is that they're here to elevate the consciousness of the planet. And that was where I found a lot of wrong in people who say they're twin flames. Like, if you're here to elevate the consciousness of the planet, then how are you working at Walmart and he's not working? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't make sense. It was like, okay, so y'all are just not doing anything for anybody else, right? So, okay, that's weird. So, yeah. they uh they have a lot of excuses, Alex Black, for what they do, for what they do in that community. But when I met the second guy, I was with him for 5.5 years. I didn't consider him my twin flame. I mean, I started buying into it halfway through the relationship because, again, people were telling me, oh, you guys are twin flames because you dream about each other or you show up in each other's dreams, or, he was thinking about this and then you did this, or like they were finding all the things that matched, right? And I bought into it for a little bit, but then I realized I wasn't happy in the relationship. So again, I started questioning, how could this be a twin flame relationship if I'm not happy? It doesn't make any sense. Because if this is the ultimate union, am I not supposed to be happy in this relationship? So after 5.5 years, and again, I don't talk bad about my exes because my exes aren't bad men. They just weren't the men for me, right? So after 5.5 years with this guy, I ended it in August 2020. I remember. I just was like, I'm done. It was something, we had an argument, and it was just the last argument for me. And I said, I'm done. And I said, now I'm going to attract my soulmate. I stopped using the words twin flame. It just felt really weird. And I said, I'm going to attract my soulmate. And I'm going to give myself a year to attract my soulmate. Now, I want to take a pause in the storytelling to tell you guys this. I am a law of attraction coach. All right. Thank you, Ash. On Meet Me. Thank you for the gift. And I am a law of attraction coach. So I teach people how to manifest their desires. So one thing I know is that you do have spiritual connections out there and you do have soulmates. I don't believe there's one soulmate for a person. I've been alive a long time. I'm 47 years old and I have dated at least 10 of my soulmates. All right. I've been in a lot of relationships, way more than 10. And I can tell when I'm in a relationship with a soulmate. I'll get to that in a second. But I did not want no twin flame. I just wanted a dude that was a good candidate for a husband because I was ready to be married again. I was ready to settle down at this stage in my life. My kids were grown. They were needing me less and less, and I have time for love because I've always put my kids first. I don't know about you guys, those of you that have children out here, but for me, it was not a negotiable. When I was dating, when my kids were growing up, I was dating men that were in long distance relationships. Like I would date a guy in New York or date a guy in Florida, because I didn't really want to invest in a relationship. The most important thing was my children. So once my children started getting older, the guy that I was with for 5.5 years, he lived in Virginia. He was not far from me, but he had such a full life because he had his own house and two jobs. So it was like, even though he lived here, we really saw each other maybe like 6 times a month. So it was ideal, right? But then the kids started getting older. And I started realizing I had more space for love. I had more energy for love, and I wanted love, right? So I started putting it out to the universe, law of attraction coach. Is this the relationship for me? Because we were coming up to our 5-year anniversary, and I was still on the fence. I wasn't sure if this was the guy for me. He was nice. We had a good time. We traveled a lot. We, spent some time together. We worked together. So it was like, it was comfortable, but was it really what I wanted in a forever mate? So I started asking these questions. And I remember when the pandemic hit, he lives about 20 minutes away from me, and he quarantined at his house with his family, like his daughter, and I quarantined at my house with my sons. And I really, because I was away from him for like so long, I really was able to start thinking about, is this the man for me? And my answers were coming up short. It was saying, no, this is not it, right? So, what am I going to do? I knew that I had to leave the relationship. We had just crossed our 5-year anniversary, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. When you're with somebody for so long, you don't know what life is like, what even dating is like, right? After being out of the dating pool for 5 years. But I remember one night I had a dream about a man, and I remember what he looked like. He was slim. He was black in complexion, but he was for some reason Hispanic in nature because he was a great dancer. And we were at a party, and I remember just watching him and just being mesmerized by him. I wasn't there with him as his date. I was just at the party. And I remember I was leaving in a car, and he ran out to the car and he stopped my car and he kissed me. And he said, "Wait for me, I'm coming." And I woke up. But it was something about that dream that just stuck with me. I don't know if any of you guys have had significant dreams that you just couldn't shake. And that dream was like, who is this guy? But you know what the dream told me? It told me that the things I felt for my boyfriend, I wasn't feeling, because what I felt for this other man was so much more different. It wasn't desire, it wasn't sexual in nature. There was that too, but it was more like I need you, if that makes sense. So I didn't think anything more about it, but the energy of that dream stayed with me. And my boyfriend and I continued our relationship, and it progressively got worse, not worse, just arguing, not agreeing, not seeing eye to eye. I like to have these talks with the men that I date, where I ask them things like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And where do you plan to retire? Because I'm in my 40s. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what is it looking like for you? And I remember my ex had said something that was so completely opposite of what I wanted to do when my kids went off to college and I had all the time in the world to myself. We were just like on opposite ends. And I said, I got to stop trying to force this and make this fit. this is not the guy for me. So August, I ended it. I broke up with my boyfriend of 5.5 years in August. And I trusted. I trusted the universe to take care of me in terms of I'm going to go out there and I'm going to date. And I gave myself a year. I said, I'm going to use my law of attraction techniques. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do a vision board, and I'm going to do my dream journaling, and I'm going to do my manifestation affirmations. I'm going to do it all, right? Everything I teach my students, my clients, I'm going to do it all. And I'm going to give myself a year. And by this time, August 2021, next year, I'm going to be in a happy, healthy relationship. Well, it didn't take a year, it took 3 months. I met my boyfriend that I'm with now, currently, in December 2020. We just celebrated our 4-year anniversary. And when I met him, he was the man from my dreams. Tall, slim, black. He is of Trinidadian and Panamanian descent. So there's that Spanish part that we was talking about. And I'm always mesmerized by him. It's funny when I'm streaming and he comes on screen, because he'll come on screen to give me a kiss, or, if he's coming in the house or leaving the house. And people could see, like, the way I look at him, I'm just mesmerized by him. And this is 4 years later. It's not a show. It's just how I feel. But I'm telling you guys all of this because I feel in today's society, people force things too much and they try to make it fit. But you got to let go. You got to learn to let go. There's a path we call the path of least resistance. And I tie the path of least resistance closely to the law of attraction, because it's not called the law of efforting. It's called the law of attraction. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. They try so hard, or they try to make things, they force things, they push things, and it doesn't work out, right? And then you feel even worse because all that effort for what? For nothing. So I started taking the path of least resistance by just pretty much accepting everything as it is. In this 4-year relationship I'm in with my boyfriend, we've broken up twice. We broke up when we were approaching the 6-month mark, and then we broke up when we were approaching the 2-year mark. And in both times, my boyfriend and I, when we broke up, I told him, I said, okay. I didn't fight. I didn't resist. I just said, okay. And in both times I said, I'm sorry it didn't work out. And I wish it did, and it didn't. But thank you. Thank you for the time that we spent together. Now, I know a lot of you listening might be like, that's so weird. Did you not love him, Uma? Of course I did. Of course I do. But my understanding spiritually is that you take the path of least resistance in life because you don't know what is out there for you. The only thing I do know is that I am getting married, and I am having a husband who is my provider, my protector, my shield, my companion, my best friend, my everything, right? That I cannot provide for myself, he is. And I am for him what he cannot provide for himself, right? We complement each other, we come together. And I believe so strongly in that I have that person out there that doesn't want anybody else but me, that doesn't want to be anywhere else but with me. And that's what I held to. So when it came time to like break up or end, I was like, okay, because in my head, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is the end of my world. I was just thinking, well, if he's not my husband, then somebody else is. Because I trust in God. I trust in the universe. I trust in my own desire that I'm going to have my happily ever after. And here we are, 4 years later, right? So Why am I talking about all of this? Because I do a lot of readings on a daily basis on TikTok where the majority of people coming in are asking me, will he call me? Are we broken up? Are we reconciling? Will we get back together? Does he think about me? Is he missing me? Will he leave the third party? Will he leave the third party and come back to me? And I wish I could tell all of these people, just leave it alone. Stop trying so hard. Trust, visualize, intend, manifest, right? And don't manifest one person, manifest the ultimate person. Because that's what I did when I had that dream. I manifested the person who was going to give me that complete experience of unconditional love in a relationship. And that's what I get. When I tell you guys, I wake up every day so insanely drunk in love, right? To look over the bed and see my person there and to feel their body and to feel the heat of their body as I lie next to them, or to go to bed at night and have conversations, or to spend the day, or meet in the kitchen, or take a drive somewhere. I feel like I'm living my best life now. And I'm like, how can it get better than this? I don't even know how it could get better than this. And I want everybody in the world to experience this kind of love. It's a simple love where we don't have much. We're not fancy, flashy people, and we struggle like everybody else, but we got each other. And it's so nice to know that in the middle of all of the struggles of life, you have somebody there with you that is wanting the same things you want and is on the same path as you and is doing the same things you're doing. It's like the most amazing thing. So that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about redefining relationships in modern society. Stop looking at the bank account. To the women, stop looking at the bank account or what they own or what they drive or what they wear. Start looking at what they wear in their heart, right? How rich of kindness are they? Are they driven with ambition, right? That's the things you want to look for. Are they a great conversationalist? When you talk, do they listen? Or do they ignore you? Do they shut you down? Do they make you feel less than? Those are the people you want to avoid. You're welcome, Kathy. Kathy said, thank you for doing this. Stop looking for the superficial things. And men, stop worrying about the physical aspects of a relationship. Stop trying to bag a woman and get her into bed, see how she do, and then just use her for that. Because I'll tell you something too. I'm a very experienced woman, and physical intimacy gets better when love is involved. You can have a whole host of one night stands or, you know, meaningless interactions. And that's exactly what it is, meaningless. But when you find that person that you are crazy about emotionally, and then you have the physical aspect of that, you could have the hottest guy or woman come in your stream and hit on you, and you can't even see them because you are so unaware. When I tell you I get hit on like every day because I'm a streamer, right? I'm a streamer on TikTok. I'm a streamer on Meet Me. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I get guys in my DMs all the time, and I can't even see these people. If you were to ask me, are they cute? I don't even know. They look human, right? They look human because I don't care. I can't see anybody but my man, if that makes sense. And it's not an obsession. It's just that's my desire. And the desire comes from how well he treats me. So, how should we redefine relationships in modern society? We need to stop looking at the superficial things in life and look at the person who's willing to grind with you, who's willing to work with you, who is willing to build something with you. That's what you should want. The person who wants to build with you. And that's going to change your life. I move differently now because of my relationship. I used to spend a lot, trying to keep up with the girlfriends, right? Going out, hanging out, right? Buying all sorts of crazy stuff, traveling everywhere, drinking everything. And now I do like 1/6 of that. And that's all thanks to my man because he is like, no, why are we spending money? We're going on this trip in this month. Why are we spending money? Why are we going out? No, we can stay home. We can have date night right here. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing what the right love relationship can do. Now I know I am streaming on Meet Me and TikTok and YouTube, and I have a couple of viewers on each of those sites. So this is the time where we can open it up for Q&A. If you guys have questions you want to ask me, let me know. And if not, I will end the broadcast at this point. But try to stay out of that lingo of twin flame talk. I do, if you want to know if I believe that there's twin flames, I do. I do believe there's twin flames out there. But I don't believe the majority of people who are saying they're in a twin flame relationship is actually in a twin flame relationship. I believe the majority of people are in soulmate relationships. And I believe there's a lot of people in karmic relationships. Kane, what are we talking about? We're talking about redefining relationships in modern society. So, for those of you that don't know what a karmic relationship is, according to the spiritual community, a karmic relationship is you and a person had a past life together, and you owe that person a karma, or they owe you a karma, and then you come back into this lifetime and you live it out. But for some reason, people always think of past lives as it's always romantic. That's not the case. If you're dealing with a guy right now and he's treating you the worst, it does not mean that he was your husband the last lifetime. Like, guys, come on. You change genders, you change roles every lifetime. All right? So more than likely it's like they might have been a teacher and you were the student, and maybe you beat the teacher beat the kid last lifetime, and they feel remorse about that, and now they come back as the boyfriend, and then you're the one that's going to hurt the boyfriend this year, this lifetime. There's so many ways. It's not always romantic. So a karmic relationship just means that there's two people that are going to endure some sort of toxicity for a moment of time so they can work out their karmas. And that's why I say, like, the easiest way to get through karmic relationships is to just like let it go. If someone's doing you wrong, just walk away and say, you know what? I don't have to put up with this. I don't need to, I don't care if it's karmic or a soulmate or a twin flame. My dignity tells me no. My self respect tells me no. My self love tells me no. Kathy said, why can't I let it go if the relationship is over? Why can't I detach? So, Kathy, I'm going to say this respectfully. I would say you want to talk to a therapist. I'm not a therapist, but there are a lot of females I am recognizing have detachment issues and attachment issues. And until you can heal that with someone, right? This will forever hurt, because more than likely when you get into another relationship and that person leaves, you will also feel the effects of this as well. you know? Yeah, because I had attachment issues. I had an anxiety attachment style. And the funny thing about having an anxiety attachment style is that you tend to attract to people that have an avoidant attachment style, meaning when the going gets tough, they avoid. And for me, when the going got tough, I would attach even more. So that's where it started to like make me understand, wait a minute, this is not love. This is emotional trauma. And I have to heal the emotional trauma in me. And the way this is why I stopped saying I'm in a twin flame relationship, because even though I have the grounds to say I'm in a twin flame relationship because I am a spiritual teacher, remember, twin flames are the couples that are highly enlightened, highly evolved, and they're here to like build the community around them. You know, you're not going to find twin flame couples working at like a Walmart or a 7-Eleven. Like they're people of a higher evolved nature and they're changing the communities. So even though I do that for work, I still don't consider myself in a twin flame relationship because I think those are very, very highly evolved people. I'm in a soulmate relationship though. You know, my man and I, we go together. We go real good together. And he makes me feel really good. And I notice when I'm with him in my life, I'm doing better in life. And that's how I think a relationship should be. A relationship should be when they're in your life, everything gets better. Because that's the one thing I can say. When my man came into my life, my money got better, my work got better, my appearance, I started looking better. People like always would tell me, you're glowing, you know, your hair is like nice and you're losing weight and all this other stuff because I'm just happy. So when you're in a relationship and you feel those things, you're in the right relationship. But if you're in a relationship where you don't feel those things, then that's how you know you're in the wrong relationship. Kane said, I have no clue what type of relationship I'm in right now. Something like my ex girlfriend that I go back and forth with, or is that something different? I would say you guys have a karmic relationship because you guys do go back and forth. And here's the thing about how you know if a relationship is with you, is for you. When a relationship progresses, that's how you know that relationship is healthy. Okay. Hey, Rob, I see you on YouTube. When you progress in a relationship, that's how you know that that relationship is healthy. And that's why I left my boyfriend of 5.5 years. Because in 5.5 years, even though we were having a good time and, you know, he was a good guy and he was cool to hang out with and everything, at the end of 5.5 years, I still didn't have a ring on my finger, even though he knew I wanted to get married. We still were not living to like we were still living in separate houses, separate everything, you know, not even like a joint bank account. Like it was just everything was separate. So I said, you know, he's not a bad guy, but I want the man that's going to progress and that's going to want to progress with me. And that's my man. You know, we moved from being friends to texting to talking to FaceTiming to dating casually to dating committed to being in a long distance relationship to moving in together. You know, so it's like we progress and it feels like every year we're getting closer and closer. Um, so that's how I know that this relationship is right for me. All right, twin flames, you can be in separation and still feel the connection even without talking. Not I don't know because I as I said earlier in the beginning of this talk, I think twin flame language is code a lot for codependent behavior because the way I live my life is that I always I always test everything. And if I test something and it can't be proven, then I'm going to say it's hearsay and it's not real. It's something fantasy and made up in my own experience. Like for instance, um like what you just said, right? That happens to anybody in relationship, really and truly. Twin flames can be in separation and still feel the connection even without talking. So the first thing I would say is, how do you know that that person feels the connection? I get that you feel the connection, but how do you know that they feel the connection? And then if you tell me, well, they told me that they still feel the connection, I would still counter with, well, that's a relationship. It doesn't have to be a twin flame relationship. It's just a relationship because that's how relationships are. The longer you spend with somebody, the closer the bond becomes, you know? So she said, because when I'm down, he randomly asks, are you good? So you don't think that he may be attuned to you because he spent enough time with you that he can tell your moods? He can tell like when you're happy, when you're sad. Like these are the things that I question because a lot of the things that people say are twin flame symptoms are just regular symptoms of people who know each other or who have spent a great deal amount of time with each other, you know? And then you also have to put into play that some people do have psychic abilities and they can pick up. Like I know I am not a twin flame to all my clients. You know what I'm saying? But I can pick up if somebody is down, if somebody's happy or sad, or if they're going through something. So that's why I say I haven't yet met somebody who could tell me that they're in a twin flame union and give me an example of what they've experienced that I could say, oh, wow, yeah, that's a twin flame thing. Yeah, she said, thought you can only have one twin flame. And that's why I said everything that you're writing there, I've had with multiple men. So there you go again. How do you define what is a twin flame when I've had those experiences with multiple men? And definitely these men, I do not consider my twin flame, you know? I've had with exes where I dreamt of them and they dreamt of me. Sometimes I even had a couple of exes where we were in the same dream at the same time, you know? So how is that possible if we're not twin flames? Thank you for the wheel on Meet Me. I appreciate the gifts. Thank you. Annette, thank you for the heart puffs. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kane. So these are the questions I just challenge those of you that say you're in a twin flame relationship. Just ask yourself these questions because, I did an experiment, a social experiment, where I told you guys I used to be a big twin flame reader on YouTube until I realized this is toxic. I need to get out of this, right? And 6 years ago was when I was at the peak of my twin flame reader career. And you know what I did? I went back to all those people that were leaving comments on my videos. And I said to them, did you finally unite with your twin flame? Guess what the answer is, guys? None of them. None of them ended up with their so-called twin flame. In fact, a lot of them recanted. And a lot of them said, yeah, I thought that was my twin flame. I guess that wasn't. He ended up marrying this person. He ended up moving on. I moved on. I married someone else. I'm like, oh, so the new person, do you think that's your twin flame? Because I'm egging, right? I'm just trying to see where they go with it. And they're like, nope, nope, not my twin flame. I don't buy that nonsense anymore. And I said, good, good. Nat said, I had read that twin flames usually don't end up together, but push you to be better. Yeah, again, that's like a cop out, right? Because isn't that convenient, Nat? That let's put this theory out there about twin flames, And then let's also say that you're not going to end up together, but you'll make each other better people and then just keep people in constant longing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very convenient. And that's what I found in all my research of twin flames is that they had a convenient excuse or a convenient reason as to why things were the way they were. But guess what happens, Nat? Guess why it's dangerous? Because let's just say you believe this crap that that person's your twin flame, right? Now you would not free your energy up to actually meet somebody to have like a good relationship with, where you could actually settle down and have a really satisfying relationship, because now you have to stay waiting for this person. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem with the twin flame concept, is that it keeps people in waiting, in limbo. Yeah, Jem, I don't believe in twin flames. That's the point of my talk right now. She said, my experience is different because I actually have been open and meet other people. But is that you or is that him? She said, when I met him, I started being more spiritual. Again, it may not be him. It could be because you're getting older. Because why is it that I've met a lot of women at my studio that don't have twin flames, but started getting more spiritual, right? So all I'm saying is I think you need to start like looking at this with fresh eyes, because you might be like putting yourself into a locked room when you don't need to. Because everything you've said so far that you're attributing to your twin flame, I've actually experienced myself or seen happen to other people, and it wasn't because of a twin flame connection. You understand? So that's why I say, like, you got to be careful. And this is the problem with the twin flame community, is that they get really obsessive about it. It's like, I've seen, when I tell you guys, I've seen some craziness, like people just putting themselves through some pain and suffering for no reason. You know, it's like it stops. I've seen people stop. Like we had the woman in here earlier. She's probably gone now. And she said, a woman broke up my marriage with my husband because she worked with him and told him that he's her twin flame, and started feeding him all this nonsense, like all these nonsense things they say. And then guess what? He left the relationship, he left the marriage, left the kids, left the wife for this twin flame. And now she's here on my stream. She was here earlier, about an hour ago. And now she's like, what do I do? And I said, leave it alone. He's going to come back, because the twin flame thing, it's not a sound concept. It's not real. It's it's an insane concept that's been pushed by a lot of people with agendas. And until you can understand that there are people out here with agendas pushing narratives that serves other things, right? You're just going to buy into it. So I told her, I said, don't worry, just leave it alone. It's not going to work out. These twin flame couples never work out because it's toxic and it's codependent. And anything toxic and codependent can't be of a higher vibration. Nothing of a twin flame status is of a higher vibration. When you hear all the arguments twin flames make about twin flames, none of it is of a higher vibration. So I told her, I said, you don't worry, your husband will come back to you. Trust me, believe me. And when he does, then it's up to you if you want to work on your marriage or not. That's your decision, that's your choice. But in terms of this other lady, she'll get her karma for breaking up a marriage and for meddling with somebody else's man, because karma is real. And that's why they even said it in the 10 Commandments, right? About adultery. Thou shalt not take another man's wife. or something to that extent. I can't remember. Thou shalt not commit adultery, right? Because when two people are together, that is, and that's another argument too that I think I said earlier for those of you new coming in. How, because in the twin flame community, they'll tell you, oh, usually twin flames belong to other people, and you have to break those connections to be together. So they're literally saying commit adultery. How could that be right? How could that be high vibration? How could that be high frequency? It doesn't make sense, right? And then they tell you that after they put you through all the other stuff, right? Then they tell you in the end, oh, and by the way, you're not going to work out with your twin flames. Twin flame relationships don't work out. So you're saying, let's create all this drama, let's break up a happy home and a happy relationship just so you could selfishly get your rocks off, your socks off. And then at the end of it all, it's not even going to be worth it because you're not going to end up with the person. It's a fad, guys. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. In 5 years, you're not even going to hear anybody say twin flame anymore. It's already happening. I've been in the spiritual community for 16 years. And in the beginning, it was the big fad. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was in a twin flame relationship. And now you hardly hear anybody talking about it, except like the die-hard people, that like are stuck on it. But I think like the people that are stuck on the twin flame rhetoric are people that need therapy because they have a problem disassociating from it. Not you saying, Jem, you like Kool-Aid. Not saying not the Kool-Aid. Yeah, it's because you won't. There's so many like accounts of people sharing their stories about how they drank the Kool-Aid and believed that they were in a twin flame, and how their life became so chaotic and they lost everything. They have documentaries. Yeah. Yeah, there's a Netflix series. There's so many documentaries out about people who got burned by this crazy concept. And this is why, as a spiritual teacher, I do talks like this because it doesn't look good on me or my community because it makes me look like I'm a crazy person, right? Oh, you believe in twin flames. Oh, you believe in this or that. And I'm like, no, no, there's natural laws and then there's things that people make up, you know? See, look what I just said. Nat said, and I said this just as Nat was writing this. Nat said, I didn't even know about twin flames until my friend that does tarot mentioned that to me. And that's the problem. Respectfully, Nat, your friend don't know what she's doing or what she's talking about. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous because we have a lot of people out here that are saying they're spiritual teachers, they're healers, they're mentors. They don't even know what they're doing and they're spreading the wrong information. So just be aware, guys, for those of you that are on your spiritual path, that are following, that want to live a more spiritual path and purpose, make sure you know who you're working with. I always, when I tell my clients, I have people sign up with me for like a 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month personalized coaching program where I help them develop on their spiritual path, right? And whenever they sign up with me, I tell them, I say, I need to tell you about my credentials. And they'll tell me all the time, oh, Uma, you don't have to tell me anything because I've been following you for years on YouTube. I've watched all your videos. I've been taking your free classes. I've been listening to your free talks. I said, be that as it may, I have to tell you my credentials because if we're going to work together for a couple of months, you got to know who you're working with, right? And I understand. And I said, that's great that you know so much about me, but you still need to hear it from me who I am, what my experience is, how much sessions I've done, how many classes I've taught, how many students I've taught, and what my views are on the whole thing, right? Because if you don't have that grounded approach, then I could get mixed in with the weird crowd, right? And I'll tell you the reason why I pulled away from the twin flame community is because I study natural laws. The natural laws is what is going to save everybody. Understanding nature, understanding why we are what we are and why we do what we do. When you can understand those things, did you take your NyQuil? Okay, good night. When you understand those things, then all of life becomes easy. There's no fight, there's no resistance. It's just joy, it's just bliss, it's just happiness. It's just waking up in the morning. What am I going to create today? Because I'm in flow. Everything flows to me, everything is easy. And that's what I want for everyone. But for me to do that, we have to have these difficult talks where we address these topics, where we talk about the things that are wrong in the community. And I'm aware there's a lot of people listening to me. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Meet Me, I'm on Facebook. I get it. There's a lot of people listening to me, and there's people that agree and people that don't agree. But here's the thing, I say it all the time, I'm not here to be popular, I'm not here to be famous. I'm here to help the few that want change. I'm here to help the few that want a good life. There are going to be some people who are going to be committed to suffering and committed to pain. I'm not here for them, right? I'm here for the person, the people that say, I want an easy life. And I think I can get it if I change my point of view. So that's my talk for tonight in this Uma Talks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I want to tell you what is my talk for next week, because we do these once a week on YouTube on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe next week we have the new moon, if I'm correct, right? So I think I'm doing a talk about the new moon. Let me just double check that, tell you guys real quick. Yes, next week on February 26th at 8 p.m., my talk is going to be about new moon rituals and affirmations. So it's going to be a more interactive experience where I'll talk about what the new moon is in, what sign it's in, what does a new moon mean, what is the energy like for a new moon, and then I'll give you some ideas of what people do for rituals at the new moon, and then I will also be giving affirmations and a meditation for that as well. So thank you, Nat. Nat said, I love talking about this because it opens up your mind and perspective. You're welcome. Cloud, welcome. So thank you guys so much for attending my talk here on YouTube. I hope it brought you some clarity about different things in your life. Thank you, Kane, with the wheels. I love the gifts. And if anybody, wants to see me for a reading about your relationship or whatever, you're more than welcome to reach out to me through my website, which is www.thelotusandthelight.com. All right. So I'm just going to put that up here for you guys. And my email is info@thelotusandthelight.com for anybody who wants to reach out to me about, your viewpoints, your perspectives on this talk, or you could drop it in the comments too. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll be back. TikTok, meet me. I'll be back in a little bit. I just got to take a break because I'm still not well. And meet me. I'm going to be back on at 10 p.m. to do the great debate. And TikTok, I'll be back on in 15 minutes to do our psychic readings for the night. All right. Thanks, guys.